One. Hey guys, Joker the Fool here, and this is the 13th episode of Poll Review. I do the daily poll series on exclusively games. It's all unofficial, but I do a daily poll on that forum every day, and every week I go through the last 7 daily polls that I did. Basically, go through the results, what you guys said in the replies, and why I did the poll. And without further ado, we're going to jump into Daily Poll 85. Did you buy during the Epic Games sale? So, pretty recently, Epic had a mega sale. It could still be going on. I haven't really checked on it. I don't really open the Epic store too much these days. I play Subnautica occasionally. That's about it. And it was a bit of a disaster. A few games pulled out, like Borderlands 3 and Vampire the Masquerade pulled out. I think Hades. It game in early access, like up the price while the sale went on. So that's a whole disaster there. So I decided to ask, did any of you guys buy during the sale? And it was a resounding no. 95% didn't buy any games during the sale. One person bought 2 games and one person bought 3 games. And so that's pretty definitive. Most people are very anti-Epic Store on the EG forum, and there's a lot of good reasons for it. Twidget says, if it wasn't for the negative coverage, I wouldn't have known they had a sale. I wouldn't have bought anything if I had known. I wouldn't piss on Epic's back if it were on fire. It's, I think Twidget's got, Twidget's basically your representative of the mindset that most EG forum members have. Like, me myself, I got some very choice words for Epic, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to complain about that. Mad Mummy 76 says that he uninstalled the Epic launcher after he finished Metro Exodus and is unlikely to install it again. So yeah, I can agree with. I can agree with that. Like, there's not really much of a reason to use the Epic launcher, and I do want to play Metro Exodus because I'm planning on building a new PC. I'm probably going to have a 2080 in it, and Metro Exodus has got like the best ray tracing effects, so it'll be really cool to see it, but I can wait until it comes out to Steam to play that game. So let's move on to the 86th daily poll, which is, do you play AR games? This is just another one that I say, like with a lot of the daily polls I do, it's just something that randomly popped in my head, and this is yet another one that just randomly popped in my head. And most people used to play. Well, not most people. Most people don't play AR games. That's 67% of the response was that they don't play AR games. About 20% played one AR game, and then about 13% used to play AR games. And AR is augmented reality. So, Pokemon Go, that sort of stuff. Bolta 666. I, like almost the whole population, have at least tried Pokemon Go for a few days. However, he deals with AR and VR on a professional level outside of gaming, and he can definitely say that he can't see VR getting tracked and becoming mainstream, while he believes AR will be part of the future of gaming, as it has the same advantages of VR while keeping your surroundings still available at any time. So that's a pretty interesting thing. I'm not sure what the future will hold, but I'd like to think there's a future for VR. Maybe like they'll integrate somehow, but I'd say that's a pretty interesting comment from Bolta. And we'll move on to the second one from Cousin Ed. He says no, his 3DS XL came with some of those AR cards. Some of the games he bought did as well. He thinks he only used them once. So yeah, I only played with the AR cards. I messed around with Pokemon Go. That's about it. And I think that most people, it's like, I saw most of the responses were like, well, I played Pokemon Go like a few times, and that's basically it. There's the HoloLens, that's AR, so it's definitely something that's really new, and it hasn't been like a killer app for it. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see, if more developers and publishers pour money into making AR games. It might take off, might not. But in the meantime, we'll look at the rest of the polls. And this next one is Daily Poll 87. Do you use the EG forum or the site more? And I think, I forgot who responded, but someone said that this would be a very biased poll. The results would be very skewed, because if you only use the site, then you wouldn't respond to this poll. And I realized it like just after I posted this, so this will be a bit skewed. But most people use the forum more than the site. A few people use the site more than, I should say the results. So 65% of you guys use the forum more than the site, 7% of you guys use the site more than the forum, and about 26% only use the forum. So obviously this isn't definitive. I'm sure the staff has access to how the analytics play out, but I don't. So this poll is basically the best we're going to get until they decide to release that information, if that ever happens. So let's move on to the replies. We've got Isturbo 1984, he did the original daily poll series that I rebooted. I think he stopped doing it. He got banned around February for a bit, and then I took over. And he says 87. He says that I'm looking good. He says good work picking this up after he was banned by the mods, and that I'm doing these videos and everything, and that he's very proud of me. So I mean, it's like I'm sort of stroking my own ego by putting this comment in here, but I just want to give props to Isturbo for doing the original daily poll series. I really liked the few that he did compared to mine, and I just did this because I liked what he was doing, and I wanted to carry it on for the forum. So if you ever watch this, Isturbo, then thanks for the original daily poll series, and I'm doing it to carry on what you did, and hopefully you'll check in every once in a while and see what I'm doing. So that's basically it. Even Saito says he pretty much never looks at the website. Most of the articles fail to catch his interest, and most of the forum users have that same thing. They say that the articles don't interest them, or they're bad, or the site isn't organized well. I think Aileron said that about the site, that the organization's a bit weird, which I can sort of agree with. The organization's a bit weird. The review section still hasn't launched, but the forum's nice. It's fun. It's a good community. I like it a lot. But let's move on to Daily Poll 88. Do you buy ports? Another one that just randomly popped in my head because I was just thinking of polls topics, and I thought I never did one about ports, so let's do one about ports. And most people have bought some ports. That's about 70% of you guys. 17% of you guys bought a lot of ports, and 12% of you guys have bought no ports. And Star Magician says he only buys ports that he hasn't played or doesn't own, and he usually waits for a sale. Otherwise, he feels like he's just enabling lazy corporatism. The only recent exception he can think of is Disgaea, and he kind of regretted it. And for the most part, I agree. There really isn't too much of a reason to buy a port on most systems. I think the Switch has a very good USP for buying ports on it, especially since it's portable. It's a portable system, so you can play games that you thought you couldn't play portable now, like Doom or Skyrim, Stardew Valley. I got Stardew Valley on Switch, even though I don't have it on PC. I will buy it on PC someday, because it's a great game, and it's a great game, and like my first save file has got a lot of stuff, and it runs like 30 frames a second whenever I go outside. So I think if I got a PC and I'm playing on a decent rig, which I'm going to have really, really soon. I've talked a lot about how I'm going to build a new PC. Don't want to bore you guys with that, but I can do a lot of stuff in Stardew Valley with that PC, and it makes sense for me to buy it outside the Switch port. But that's a whole thing. But there are reasons to buy ports, on the Switch and on PC at some points too. So there's a reasons to buy ports, but for most of the time, it's usually just like slightly better graphics, maybe a bit more anti-aliasing, and not a new game. Which Star Magician's getting at is like, take the money you spent making a port and make a new game, which I can definitely understand. But we will move on to the next comment from Thomas JCG. Says, if it's a good port, why not? And I mean, like I was hearkening before. There's reasons to buy ports. If it's done well, then there is a reason to buy these ports. It's just like it'll give you more features. You can have it on a modern system and all those sorts of things, or it can be portable, like with Switch ports. But I think I spent too much time on this one, on the last one, so we'll go to Daily Poll 89. Do you buy any AAA yearly franchises? And this is one, what came into my head, but a lot of the industry is just like, people who buy like Madden and Call of Duty, 2 games a year, Madden, Call of Duty, or FIFA Call of Duty, depending on if you live in Europe or you live in the States. And I wanted to ask, I wanted to get people's thoughts on this. I used to buy a Call of Duty every year when I was a lot younger. I used to get it every year when I was a teenager, and that's what all the guys at school were playing. And that was the sort of like, culture, that Call of Duty was like the best game ever, when it's really shit now. It's been shit for a while, and I have no interest in, giving Activision any more money, but I could rant on about that for hours, so we'll get to the results. 13 people, but 28% used to buy a AAA franchise yearly. 8% buys one AAA franchise yearly, and then 62% of you guys never bought a AAA franchise yearly. So that's pretty definitive that most people have tuned out from this generic bullshit. Lapham, I think that's how you say it, says he does still play AAA titles, but usually one title in 3 to 5 years is good. Doesn't blindly spend his money yearly on Call of Duty, FIFA, or the like, which is definitely, I think, the right way to go. A lot of AAA games release broken, buggy, no content, and some Fallout 76 come to mind, but there are like 2 games in a notion of like generic, buggy, incomplete AAA games. Bolo says he used to buy yearly franchises like Madden, NBA Live back in the early 2000s. Then started skipping every year and buying them every other year. Now he no longer plays Madden, and he's still waiting for a good MLB baseball game on PC. Non-sports yearly franchises like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed purchases were based on reviews and never at full price. So, and then that's like, those 2 comments to me just sort of, gauge out the general, feel of the audience, is that like, that AAA games sort of declined in quality. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for it. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to get into it. We'll go on to the next one, Daily Pull 90. Do you hunt for Easter eggs in games? Another one just came to my mind. Easter eggs are pretty interesting. There's a lot of like really cool ones in certain games. There's stuff like in like Portal 2 that are pretty interesting. You got like GTA 4's Hot Coffee mod, which got the government involved in certain things. A Dark Room came out recently on the Switch and got a code editor onto it, and they had to take it off the eShop because of that. So lots of pretty interesting things. Sometimes devs are a bit nefarious with the Easter eggs that they put in some pretty risque stuff, which is pretty fun to see. The controversy that it causes in my mind. But with the results that you guys have, it's pretty split against all the options. So 36% of you guys have never hunted for Easter eggs, 6% of you guys have hunted for 1, 9% have hunted for 2, 33% exactly have hunted for 3 or more Easter eggs, and then 15% of you guys have hunted for Easter eggs in every game that you can. So that's pretty mixed results, I would say. Retro84 says he guessed he used to back in the day. Don't know if these count, but here are a few. He found one in the Super Game Boy. Found a hidden code by accident that triggered the Super Game Boy's credits. It was a series of pressing the L and R buttons. He also found a surprise in Sonic 3 when he was younger. When pausing the game at a certain time, when you spin the goalpost, you could see the portrait of Knuckles. Although he was blue, this was before Sonic and Knuckles was even announced, so he was sent into a frenzy trying to find some way to possibly play as Knuckles. That wasn't in the 2-player race, and I would definitely count those as Easter eggs. Retro, very interesting. Thank you for sharing those. That's really interesting stuff. I never knew about that stuff, but that's really, really cool. Must have been really cool to find those back when you first played those games. And I think that was really interesting when I first read your reply. So that's why it's in the video right now. We got Danks Macabre, who says no, he doesn't go out his way to hunt for them. I sometimes, by happenstance, read about them and watch YouTube videos showing them, but as far as he remembers, he never actually searched for them in game. And, a lot of people say, I'll go on YouTube and watch the videos and then find them, or, I'll read a guide and find them if I care. And that was a lot of the general consensus on the forum, I would say, is that, they find it for some, or, they just watch videos about it, they don't actively look for it. And we'll go on to the last daily poll, which is Daily Poll 91. Do you think console gaming is a niche? And this one was done because Sony, at an investor meeting pretty recently, said that they view console gaming as a niche. And I think I disagree. I mean, it's definitely a market that's smaller than mobile. That's, not debatable at all. But I think there's enough people playing on console where it's a sizable market. There's a lot of people you can sell to. There is a bunch of genres of games that people play on console. I mean, people play FPSs and sports games and RPGs. So I think it's a big market with a lot of people. And I think most people agree with me because this poll has got two options, the fewest I've ever done in any poll, but it's only really two responses that I could think of, and 86% of you guys don't think it's a niche, and about 13% of you guys think it's a niche. I know Moose Out Hence, they voted on the poll, and he said that he voted on the wrong way, so that's sort of, it's probably, a bit more, but that's basically about the results that we got, and we'll look at the replies. We've got the Messenger, who doesn't think any part of gaming is niche at this point. We're way past the years when gaming was a thing to be embarrassed about. Everything from Angry Birds to WoW to Mario is part of the pop culture, and everything from mobile games to console games to PC games makes enough money to be seen as profitable business ventures. Doesn't think any gaming platform isn't lucrative right now, which I definitely agree with this, is that there are a lot of people playing games across all different platforms. Mobile is bigger than console, obviously, but doesn't mean console is like, a few, it's not like a enthusiast great thing. Millions of people have consoles. It makes a lot of money for these big companies. It's definitely something that's worthwhile. Sony's making a PlayStation 5, Microsoft's making another console, Nintendo's going to keep chugging along with the Switch, so I do think that the Messenger is right on the money. But for the dissenting opinion, we've got Baron Baldrick, who says the consoles are a niche. The mobiles are the opposite example. How many Doom players are there? How many fat old ladies play Candy Crush? The Tegra X1 that gives life to the Switch was designed for digital display panels and cars, and the same with PlayStation 4 is recycled notebook technology. And then he shows a graph showing, a split down of the global games market in 2018, showing that, basically in 2018, mobile games generated about $70 billion, dollars, which is 51% of the market. PC is at 32.9 billion, 4.3 of that, which is from browser games, and then you've got console at 34.6 billion, and then 34.6 billion dollars. So definitely mobile's huge, but console $34 billion. That's still a lot of money, Baron. Like, it's definitely smaller than mobile. $34 billion that's a lot of money. It is huge. It still makes it's still a sizable portion of the market that you can focus on. And even though I know a lot of developers, they focus on mobile, they worship the mobile users. They think Candy Crush and all these games are the best things ever. That's why Activision wants every game that they make is mobile. They're going to make Call of Duty mobile. They just want to make mobile games. But I still think console games and PC games, like, games for the core audience of gamers, is still something worth investing in. That is personally what I think. I do think, the chart is definitely relevant information to bring up, and I'm not going to argue that mobile isn't huge and isn't taking over the industry, but I still think that calling console a niche is just a bit disrespectful to the console and, to the audience of core gamers that has propped up Sony through the PS4 generation, that has made them the company that they are today. But that is just me. This has been the 13th episode of Poll Review, covering the last 7 daily polls. If you guys liked the video, then you guys can give it a like. If you guys disliked it, then you can dislike it too. If you want to stick around for the next episode of Poll Review or whatever else I upload, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below with what you think about the video or any poll topics you've got. I'm open to any suggestions, and if I want to use one of your poll topics, then I'll credit you however you want to. But I've been Joker the Fool. This has been Poll Review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Chill out. Okay. Oh, shit. I fucking hit my... Is my panel okay? No, man. No. No.